Today we're going to be talking about dilations. And so our essential question for today is, how do you write a dilation algebraically? So let's talk about what it is first. A dilation changes a shape's size, and we typically get like a coordinate, just like here we have an XY, and a dilation is basically on a graph where we either expand it really big or really small. Okay. We usually have like whatever number you want to dilate the figure, you multiply it in the front and you put it like this, where those numbers are the scale factors. So we are still talking about scale factors, and as a review, a scale factor, we have the formula new measure over the original measure. And as a reminder, if your scale factor is less than 1, you get a reduction. If it's greater than 1, then you get an enlargement. Okay. So we're going to do one question together, a few questions together actually. And so for the first one, it says draw the triangle ABC on the coordinate plane, on the coordinate grid. So A is -4, 2, so I'm going to put a point there, and I'm going to put A right next to it. B is -2, 5, so right here, and I'm going to put B on top of it. And then C is 3, 2, so 3, 2. Okay. I'm going to connect them to make my triangle. Okay. And then what I have to do here is this is my pre-image, right? So I need to get my next image, which this is my original, and I need my new image. And so I'm not going to use A, I'm going to use A prime, and let me put it in red so you know it's not the original. A prime, and what I'm going to do is I want to dilate the shape using a scale factor of 2. Okay. So because I want the scale factor to be 2, I'm going to multiply every coordinate by that same scale factor. So I'm going to do -4 times 2, I get -8. 2 times 2, I get 4. So that's going to be my new A prime. My B prime is going to be -2 times 2 is -4. 5 times 2 is 10. And my C prime will be 3 times 2 is 6. And 2 times 2 is 4. And those are my new coordinate points for my new triangle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and graph A prime, B prime, and C prime. I get -8, 4. So right here, that is A prime. B prime is -4, 10. So all the way up here, and that is B prime. And C prime is 6, 4. Okay. And if I go ahead and do my triangle, you can see that it did dilate by 2. And remember, if it's greater than 1, if our scale factor is greater than 1, it's gonna make it bigger. It's gonna enlarge, and it did in this case. Okay, so the way you're going to write it algebraically, okay, usually we have an XY, and that was our original. Our triangle, our new triangle, our A prime, B prime, and C prime, we're gonna write it like this. We're gonna write 2x, 2y, because our scale factor was a 2, right? So you're just going to put it right in front of the x and right in front of the y. Okay, and that's all you do. For the next one, let's look at this, and from the original to the new, we can see that original is this square right here because it's A, B, C, D. And then the one on the outside is A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. Remember, those primes means that it's the new one. So I know here we have an enlargement because from the original to the new, it went bigger, right? So it went bigger, so it is an enlargement. And let's see how much did it enlarge. And so I'm just going to count one of the sides. Let's count sides BC. Okay. And I'm going to look at what's the scale factor here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 here. And then from B prime to C prime, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. And as a reminder, to get our scale factor, we get our new over our original. Our new value is 12, and our original is 4. So when I reduce that, I do get a 3. That means that from 4, I multiply by 3 to get that 12. Okay, so to write the dilation algebraically, remember we don't put x, y, that's the original. The dilation would be 3x, comma 3y, because we're multiplying by 3 on each point. And if you want to take a look at here, if you look at C, C is going to be 2, negative 1, right? Theoretically, if we did it right, we would multiply by 3 for the 2 to get 6 and negative 3 for the negative 1, right? Is that where C prime is? Yeah, it is. So we did it correctly. So this is our answer. 3x, comma 3y. The next one, let's look at, let's do another triangle on a grid. Let's go ahead and put L, which is negative 10, 6. So right here, I'm going to put L. Negative 2, negative 4, so right here, and that is M. And then 6, 6. And that is N. Okay. And let's say that I want to dilate the shape using a scale factor of a half. So my scale factor here, I want it to be a half. Okay. So it's less than 1, so I know it's going to shrink, but let's see how much it shrinks. So for L prime, I'm going to multiply a half by the negative 10 and 6 to get negative 5 and 3. Right? M prime, I'm going to do the same thing, get 1 over 2 and multiply to negative 2 and negative 4. So you get negative 1 and negative 2. And for N prime, I get 3, 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph those. Negative 5, 3. That is my L prime. M prime is negative 1, negative 2. So right here. And then 3, positive 3 is my N. So when I connect them, you can see that it did get smaller by half, right? So to write it algebraically, it's not x comma y, that's our original. We had a dilation of a half, so we put a half in front of the x and a half in front of the y. Just like that. Okay. And then for the last question, let's look at this right here. We don't have a graph, but we have two shapes. We have the shape F, G, H, E, right? And then F prime, G prime, H prime, and E prime. And they give us EH and E prime, H prime, right? So let's go ahead and see, is this a enlargement or a reduction? So from the original, it's big and it gets smaller. So this one is a reduction. Okay. And then we're going to see what is the reduction by? What is the scale factor? The scale factor, reminder, it's new over original. Okay. And my new here is the 3 because that's where the prime is. And then my original is 12. So I'm going to put 3 over 12, reduce that, and you get 1 over 4. So we are having a reduction by 1/4, right? So if I wanted to write that as a symbolic representation, I would go my xy, if I did have xy values, they would be reduced by a 4. So 1/4 x and 1/4 y.